What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another video. This is your boy D from the Speak It Boldly Sports Podcast. Doing a reaction video here. It's not necessarily a boxing talk, Kill B, but a reaction video to a Bruce MF Vane video. And he's a good content creator, especially boxing content creator, and I like a lot of his work. His work. You talk about a lot of different boxing in general, but talking about and just keeping guys accountable, like Shakur and the whole Keyshawn Davis situation, just period. Those are some few things I recently started watching him. And one thing I have noticed and that I do disagree with is like his takes on Boots. Not everything, but certain things. It's like, man, okay, he has some very strong takes here, and which is fine. It's just right too, as a boxing fan. But that's part of life. I disagree with everybody. But I want to react to this video, and it is titled "Why Boxing Fans Favor Devin Haney in a Boots Fight." I said, okay, it's an interesting title. So I just want to react to this video. Check it out with y'all and those who watching. Let's get it going. I had to clap it up for myself right there. Let's go.
All right. For some odd reason, the general consensus, most boxing fans believe that if Devin Debo Haney were to fight Jaron Ennis at 154, Devin Debo Haney would get destroyed. Why do they think that? I don't know.
I'm one of those people. I do believe that Devin, yeah, it would be worse than the Xander fight. At least right now, we'll see. But let's proceed.
Devin Haney, whether he wins or loses against Boots, he would not get his ass whooped. And the reason why, to me, is simple. Boots went 24 rounds with Jaron
24 rounds with Karen. I've heard this before. I've heard this. Who was that Boots fought and they kept bringing up the Karen fight? Oh, yeah, his fight that does happen with Zayas. That's right. Every fight is different. Every fight is different. And to say, people act like Boots looked like T.O. when T.O. fought Sandor Martin and when he fought Jermaine Ortiz. Where when you watch it, you see, there's like glaring weaknesses when he fights this particular style. Yes, Boots didn't get the knockout, but let's not start treating Boots like how certain fans treat Tank Davis. Oh, he didn't get a knockout, so that means the other person won, or he didn't win the fight. It's like, are we watching boxing or are we running with narratives? Let's proceed.
Karen I think Karen got stopped in his last fight, but Boots went 24 rounds with him. Mm-hmm. Why? Because styles make fights. Karen was out there using his footwork. Mm-hmm. He was mobile, mobile. He was like a locomotive. Say, no, he wasn't like no locomotive, but the man was using his toes. He was moving around. In Boots style, Boots wants to be in that pocket, and he wants to out-athlete you. He wants to make you miss and land some big shots on you. So he wants you to be in front of him. Mm-hmm. Karen was moving, and that's what made the fight go 24 rounds. Devin Haney, newsflash, Devin has better footwork than Karen. And you know what else? Karen has
I think you have to look at those Karen fights. Yes, same, both fighters, Boots, Karen. Devin would look more so like the first fight versus Karen, where he literally was moving the whole fight. The second fight, he moved, but he combined more offense. Devin will probably have more of a game plan. As of right now, things can change. They may not fight until 2 years if they actually do fight or ever fight. But as of right now, what Devin has looked like will be more so along the lines of what Devin looked like versus Jose Ramirez. Finally remembered that. So Give him Mr. Ramirez. But that's what I think Devin will look more so like. I don't think Devin will really come forward unless he hurt Boots like he did with Brian Norman. He hurt him in the second round. Then he was like opened up a little bit more offensively. But Devin's temperament is, naturally he's a great pure boxer. That's what Devin is, in my opinion. And so, you can't look at the Karen fights. Devin, to me, are there similarities between Devin and Karen, things they can do? Yes. Is Devin willing to even step in the fire a little bit and throw some combinations like how Karen did in the second fight? Or is he willing just, how he usually do, he'll jab you, hit you with that jab, hit you with a lead right hand, definitely hit you with the 1-2. From an offensive, so he has good speed, hands and feet. And so we'll have to see. I just don't see right now what Devin could offer against Boots. To be fair, But let's proceed.
67-inch reach to Boots' 75-inch reach. Mm-hmm. So Boots was in there with a damn T-Rex. Boots has 1 inch longer reach than Terrence Crawford. But Devin has a 71-inch reach. What does that mean? That means when Devin is moving, he'll be able to actually counter Boots from certain distances and angles that Karen Chukajon could not.
Yeah, man, this is the Mayweather style of boxing, but this is actually an Ohio style of boxing. Dale Williams, Eddie Futch, Dale Williams, if I'm not mistaken, from Ohio.
Real quick, I just want to touch on this when he was talking about the reach with Devin and Boots versus Karen and Boots. I guess Jaron is between 74 and 75-inch reach, and I said that way. Boots is between 74 and 75-inch reach, and he mentioned Devin's like 71, 72-ish. Zayas was 74-inch reach. Just throwing that out there. Just trying to bring about a balance. I know like people are, I'm not trying to be like super biased where like Boots is unbeatable, things like that. But like sometimes with some of these Haney fans, but fans period, I understand we're fans of fighters. I'm a big fan of Boots. Like I lean Boots against until I kind of see him get beat. Same thing with David Benavidez. It's like I've seen enough of this guy. I mean, he doesn't have areas to improve. That's not up to me to do that. That's on the fighter. But for me to look at them and be like, man, they are nice. I just can't say somebody coming up. Oh, Devin started at 135. Was there, quite a bit. Boots started at 147 professionally, from my understanding, what I've seen. For him to say he's going to, beat Boots for fans, it sounds like we're fans, but it's like, where is the fight has to happen for us to determine that. But as a fan perspective, you're a fan of something of the sport, especially boxing, any sport. Like where is the true analysis and true representation where you look at one guy and you look at this guy and be like, okay, this guy does this guy does this. Hey, man, I think this skill set this guy has could really be a detriment to this fighter because of the way he does it. Like going back to the Errol Spence Bud fight. On paper, I was rooting for Errol Spence. On paper, I had it 50-50. I don't think a lot of us, I know people had Bud winning. People had Errol winning. I didn't, doubt expect it to be as one-sided. Me personally, no. But that's what happened. Great performance, health performance of the year. Was it back in 23? I think that was 23. Yeah. But things about Bud that I noticed, if you go back and watch that Sean Porter fight, like, probably all throughout his career, not just that fight, but I noticed that he got some fast hands. Some fast hands. We knew he was a great counterpuncher. And so those are things like if I'm assessing a fight, and I'm not going to allow my fandom for one person to blind me to the point where it's like, oh, this dude ain't got no skills. If I said that about Bud, that's just crazy. And sometimes I think some of these fans, I'm just calling them fans, it's like, okay, Devin has these great attributes. Boots has these great attributes. Zayas has these attributes. It's like, let's find a balance in our fandom and let's point out the strengths and weaknesses of both guys. That's why I like channels like Boxing Gyms. They do a good job breaking down things like Boots. Sometimes he'll cross his feet. Sometimes he'll square up on the inside. And those are flaws and things that happen in the fight with Zayas. That's fair. Like But let's talk about Zayas, for instance. Like, his head was always on the line. He had size. I already knew he wasn't faster than Boots, and his level of competition was not up to the standard of where Boots is at. And based off his last 2 fights prior to Boots against Jorge, I forgot his brother's name. Jorge, and then Barrow, that they fought for the unified champ belts. It was like both of them were flat-footed, so different things like that. And so if I'm analyzing Devin and Boots, it's like, okay, we know Boots is heavy on the offense, athletic, punching power in both hands. We know Devin is a good boxer. He can move. I feel like both guys are conditioned well. We've seen both guys get hurt. We've never seen Ennis, knocked down. We've seen Haney get knocked down, but he was able to get back up. So I say for sure Haney got heart. I would say Boots has heart. We know Boots is a finisher. You may say Devin has better footwork. Like, from a fundamental standpoint, I feel like Boots is faster and has faster hands. And so for me, like, looking at this fight, if it were to ever happen at whatever point, like, let me say this as of right now, because we don't know what happened in the next year, 2 years. My question is, how will Haney handle the offensive pressure from Boots? Or will Haney be able to neutralize that? That's my question, being the smaller guy. That you don't have the pop, per se, to hold him off, in my opinion. So those are questions I have that would have to be answered. Now, if Haney is able to neutralize some of what Boots can do, if fighter hasn't been able to do it. Haney is a very smart fighter, high IQ. We'll see. I feel like Boots is high IQ as well, and making great adjustments during the fight. So it's a lot of questions. I have more questions about Haney than I do about Boots if they were to fight as of right now. If they were to fight between now and we're in 2026, August, between now and a year, we'd have to just see. But I have more questions about Haney when he fights the guys about his size. How does he handle that? We've seen him fight guys. I understand great win versus Loma, great win versus Brian Norman. Those are good wins. So when you fight a guy that's comparable in size to you, that can maybe match some physical attributes, not necessarily the intangibles or different things, other skills that you have within the boxing ring, but the physical attributes, similar reach. What does that look like? So yeah, let's keep going.
Eddie Futch from Detroit, Mickey Bay from Ohio, Floyd Mayweather Sr. from Grand Rapids. And you see he got Devin looking crazy sharp. Out here. And Devin is really a student or has the tutelage from Mayweather Sr. If anybody else said they train cuz they cap.
That's true.
That's cap. He went from Floyd Sr. to Mickey Bay. I need to, if you say you train cuz, I need to see the footage. Right here, what you looking at is a system that develops rolls, slips, catches, and counters. It's a system.
I also like this was that part of the guy was talking and they were showing the pad work. That was a great segment right there, talking about the system, talking about Floyd Mayweather Sr. training Devin, which he did when he was, I don't know how long it was, but he was his trainer. And I don't know what happened between Floyd Sr. and Haney Sr. I know something happened there, but what happened there. But that was good to hear that some of the guys he mentioned, Mickey Bay, your Floyds, some of the Midwest fighters coming from that said system. That was a very good insight, when breaking down a fight, and what some things that Devin does well, like with his style, like with the natural feints, because he does move a lot. Like just his body when he's in there, it's like he's just got a particular twitch bounce to him, and so Devin is athletic as well. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm not here to discredit these fighters that put in this work, but let's keep going.
You don't understand it, it's because you don't know boxing. Ohio got some of the best boxers in the world. And they just not throwing their hands on pads on their hands. If that's the case, why was Floyd so good at doing it? It's a system. Why was Oscar so good when he was with Senior doing it? Because it's a system. They not just catching pads on hands. They teaching you to do it at a rate that locks it in to your memory. That's what they doing. And then you get dumb tired doing it. Catching, countering, throwing punch. You see they slowing down right here. They changing the rhythm.
That was a good point. I wasn't sure. I had to go watch the original video of this, but what I mentioned before, when Boots, and I've seen this before in other like boxing games, somebody just crossing his feet, not doing that. I know David Benavidez at times does the same thing as well. Not being square, because you can't get caught because your feet aren't set, so a guy can, do that. And that's something Devin, as far as his footwork, does not do. And so, and I know Boots does rely on athleticism, so I understand when people say like boxing fundamentals, but then sometimes people just have stuff you can't teach. But still, when that athleticism dwindles a little bit, Roy Jones, Muhammad Ali, your fundamentals. So I agree with people that do say that, for sure.
They jabbing. It's a system. Learn it before you start running your mouth. Man, I used to do this mid-work, and when I noticed that it makes you come back with the shot automatically without thinking about it. Now, you still have to practice it in sparring, getting caught, and catching the shot and coming back, with the 2-3-2, 6-3-2, up under, then catching the shot, slipping, rolling, coming back. I can actually show you the footage of me slipping.
I'm just saying, bro. I've been a fan. That boost, and I was saying, wham. I was like, damn, bro. That was nice. He was hurt, though, in my eyes. I said that before in a couple videos, but he got the job done. But I'll proceed.
And rolling and coming back with shots. You know what I'm saying? It creates the memory for it. Then you put the double jab, triple jab up after it. It really works, man. This is Mickey Bay at his best, man.
So this will be a totally different fight. It definitely will go 12 rounds. And Devin could potentially win, or he would lose, but he wouldn't get, utterly destroyed. Now, I understand.
We don't know that. Just like, I'm saying, I gave my prediction. I think Boots can get this boy up out of there. We all have rights to our predictions and opinions, but we'll see if they fight. You know what I'm saying? So far, there's nothing that's told me. I understand people point to the Karen fight. I know I mentioned this before. Each fight is different. Devin's style is not like Karen and vice versa. And the reason why I know I said this earlier, but I want to elaborate. I feel like the Haney fight, if Haney fight Boots, it'll be worse than Zayas, because at least Zayas had natural size. He came in really big. And I don't see Haney. Yes, I know he's filled out at welterweight, but I think Boots is a natural guy. And we just have to see. With all the boxing ability that Haney does have, like in this fight particular, I think versus a lot of other guys, he's cool. Like a lot of guys at 47, maybe minus Ryan. Not saying that he can't beat Ryan, but I feel like, what are you going to offer to be a puzzle to Boots is my question. Same thing I felt about Zayas. Like, what else are you offering? That's just my thoughts right now, in a nutshell. Haney versus T.O. versus Roley versus Ryan, if they fight again, which that's the fight that really needs to happen. To me, that's like the litmus test for Haney. Do I think he can beat Ryan? For sure. Do I think Ryan can beat him? Yes. That fight definitely. I want that fight to happen, because I think that says a lot with their background and fighting each other in amateurs. The drama with the first fight. I Oscarine that Ryan had, the W getting wiped off Devin's record, which was right. I know they have other suing things, all that nature, but that's the fight to me that I think in general, I'll say speak for me. I have a lot of questions just about Haney. Yes, he beat Brian Norman, great win. He came back and beat Jose Ramirez before that, great win. But when he fights guys, I said that's speed and punching power, and that's around his size. I just want to see it. I felt like with Brian Norman, Brian was just one inexperienced, and I'm always lean. That's why I lean Haney over Keyshawn, because 15 fights, But yeah, Brian had power, but he didn't have enough other footwork. He didn't know how to get to Haney, not fast enough. Keyshawn, I think he has some better attributes skill wise, but I lean Devin just based off the experience. I don't know if that fight will ever happen now, and just do all the drama with that. But versus Boots is like, I don't see it. As of right now, I don't see it. Let's proceed.
Why people think Boots would destroy Devin, because Boots has a style that jumps off the screen. Mm-hmm. Boots has athleticism that jumps off the screen. Boots is more naturally talented than Devin, but styles make fights, and we've already seen that Boots struggles with the style of movement. He struggles with somebody that's mobile, somebody that's on their toes. And we know when Devin got beat by Ryan, he came back and he fought that one dude. I always forget his name. And he beat the guy 12 rounds to 0. And the fans were complaining because Devin just kept on moving and kept on moving. Devin had.
There's one thing to move. Yeah. Like I said, I don't think Haney can't implement that game plan just like he did against Jose Ramirez versus Boots. I still don't think it'll end well for him, but let's move
has
forward.
A gas tank to fight Boots in that same way. And the fans might complain, but next thing you know, Devin is getting his hand raised unanimous.
Sorry. Jose Ramirez was flat-fouted. You know what I'm saying? You say he at that point when he fought Devin was long in the tooth, career 140, 40-pounder. I fought Josh Taylor for undisputed, which was a good fight, by the way. Good one for Josh Taylor. They were going at it, but yeah, it's different versus Boots, and beyond just his. People say his flash and athleticism is like this dude has talent. One has actual skills. Like he has IQ in the ring. He just not just throwing punches just to be throwing punches and doing stuff. Like it's hard for me to understand certain boxing fans when y'all hate Shakur from his style in the ring because it's boring. Then you don't like Boots because he get hit too much. It's like, okay, what do as a consensus, as a fan of the sport, what do we like? I know what I like, but why are we bashing both ends of the spectrum? It don't make sense to me, but yeah.
Decisions.
I built this website in 5 minutes with Wix Harmony.
Let that finish. Let me see that skip button. Oh, it's not froze up, boy. All right. My bad about that. Come on now.
Boxing conversation about Devin Haney and Jaron Boots Ennis. Most boxing conversations don't consist of anything within the sweet science to give you some rhyme or reason behind what they say. That's about as clear cut as it's going to get. The basis of the whole thing is to show you that it's not so much of a blowout or, Boots Ennis is so high above Devin Haney because you look at the flash and, you look at the pot shotting and you look at all the glorious and the good stuff that comes with boxing. And we all know when it comes to the basics, when it comes to what gets stuff done, that's not popularized. Fans want you to put yourself in danger and in harm's way in order to be considered entertaining. It's pretty different.
False. He said fans want you to put yourself in harm's way to be considered entertaining. So like I said, I do listen to Bruce. And he's called, in some of his other videos, has called Shakur style boring. Now, Shakur and Devin are kind of similar in their style, like more so along the pure boxer. They're not going to put themselves in harm's way, but they go get the job. They're trying to get the W, right? I feel like Devin is, in my opinion, between the two, is will take more risk than what Shakur will, but they along the same line. So with Bruce, it's like you have a lot to say about Shakur, in my opinion, rightfully so, but don't, when you're going against Boots, try to then uplift a style that's similar to what you hate in Shakur. That's disingenuous. Fans want you to put yourself in harm's way, yada, yada, yada. Okay. But you say Shakur style is boring. Just saying, that's crazy. Man fanish.
When you can remain safe and effective at the same time, fans are flip-flopping, but that just goes to show you that, things are not always what they claim to be. That's why you need to talk to somebody who at least knows something about boxing. You should try to understand why people say what they say if it doesn't match up with what you think and what you believe, because you view things from a casual level. From a casual standpoint, anybody's going to pick Jaron Boots Ennis because of the flash,
From a casual standpoint, anybody's going to pick Jaron Boots Ennis because of the flash. That's interesting. So now, which I've seen already in boxing. So anytime if I disagree with person C on a boxing prediction or whatever, they are casual. David Benavidez ducking Jao Pataya. He needs to leave Canelo alone, da, 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 da. No, it's like, okay, I disagree with that, but that's crazy to me. What are we doing? What are we doing? Like I said, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but to say people are only picking Boots because it's flash, like, no. People actually are looking at what they're seeing when they watch somebody fight, and they're saying, okay, I saw this dude beyond just doing like you say, the flashings, but you see his offense, and then it's like, okay, what can somebody do to neutralize that offense? I think it's kind of similar to David Benavidez. Like, you're going to have to find somebody that can match or have the pop to prohibit them from moving forward on you, to stop them in their tracks. So if not, they're going to at points walk through you. Similar in that regard. But to say it's just solely flash, I think that's what I'm talking about. If I'm going to give an analysis of a fighter, I mentioned earlier, Earl Spence and Bud, I don't have to demonize or discredit one skill set to lift up somebody else. I can recognize, dang, he got these attributes: hand speed, foot speed, IQ, in fight adjustments, or whatever punching power that could really disrupt what this guy like. And I'm rooting for this guy, but I can't just look past what this guy can do and be like, like when we talk about analysis, you have to do for both sides. Like, come on now. That's what I'll be understanding, man. On top about boxing and some of these YouTubers, like I said, there's guys I like, but if I'm gonna be legit analysis, I need to look at the opponent. I'm look at their fights, go back and look at their fights, and okay, what are they doing? What do they do? What do I actually see with my eyes? With my boxing IQ that I currently have, and what my eyes are showing me, like, okay, they do this, they don't do this, they didn't do this in this fight. Okay. And so things like that's what I'm saying, where we get on some of these channels, and it's, teach your own, and they, Boost talking crazy about Bud. So, I'm a Bud fan. So, what I'm saying, anything Boost do, I'm gonna hate on it. We call ourselves analysts of the sport. Trash, bro.
But that's going off of the eye test. That's going off of everything but the sweet science. When you actually break it down and you actually look at things, you have to look at the science behind.
We look with our eyes. What the heck?
Things, and you have to look at the evidence behind things. When you look at Devin Haney's resume versus Jaron Ennis' resume, when you look at how many fights Devin Haney's got versus how many fights Jaron Ennis has, it tells a clear story. And these are clear stories that people are reluctant to basically just speak upon. But once you compare the two, it tells a very clear story. Now, that's one of the best analogies that you can get. If Jaron was what he said that he was, then why doesn't he move like somebody like Devin Haney? That's all you got to say at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? People with talent take risks with their own talent, to get ahead.
I understand a lot of people speak since the Zayas fight have broken down really hard, like Jaron's resume, and say he was fighting bums, fighting guys with under 500 records, more losses than wins. And I get that, early on in his career. And me understanding aspects of boxing beyond just the ring, a lot of politics, a lot of red tape for certain fighters. And truly, like, for real, shout out to Bill Haney, what he's been able to do for his son as his manager and, mouthpiece and different things like that. I think has put Devin in good positions, and Devin has capitalized with his talent. Like, don't get me wrong. So I don't know the ins and outs of each of these guys' careers, but I know this thing, if Jaron had fought Spence, Thurman, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, but while they were all at 147, I had the opportunity to fight those crop of guys. Ugas, I know I'm probably getting some more guys. If he actually had the opportunity to fight them during that time, but he was looked at as a guy coming up, and they were the crop of guys kind of together. So, talk about opportunity to fight. That's not always the case for whatever reason. Wrong or right, fair or not, but my thing is, when we look at these fighters, that's why I go back to Terrence Bud Crawford. Because the reason I go to Terrence, because I'm not the biggest Terrence Bud Crawford fan, but I can still look at his career. I know he's retired now, but look at his career and be like, dang, some of those PBC, I wish he could have fought some of those PBC guys before he fought Earl, right? Let's say he had got Danny Garcia. Let's say he had fought Keith Thurman, right? I know he fought Sean Porter, but let's say he could have got some of those fights prior to that. Just makes everything, his resume looks better, but then just makes it more interesting, right? Having those names, and whether he would have won or lost those, let's say he wins them, like, just makes his legend that even greater, right? So my thing is, instead of me trying to discredit every aspect of a fighter that I'm not the biggest fan of, or maybe because I like this guy better, or for whatever reason like this style better, not I don't know, like me just hating, I hate Bud. No, I don't know that man. I'm a fan of the sport. But instead of me just going out on a way to discredit it, let me actually look in depth and see, okay, what happened? There's a couple things with Bud's career. I don't know the details. I wasn't there, but he was with Top Rank, and he re-upped with Top Rank, which I'm like, man, why he do that? But that was his decision. I feel like he shouldn't have. I said maybe he should have signed, if there was an opportunity, I don't know, to sign with the PBC. Well, this is before the Arrow fight, but maybe sign with Matchroom or another promoter. Maybe those opportunities weren't there. I do not know. I don't know all the details, but I know, if y'all recall, he did sue Top Rank, or attempted to sue, due to, I think, maybe basis off of discrimination, not getting certain fights, because it's been reported that Top Rank did block the Pacquiao fight. That would have been big for his career. So he did have some shortcomings in his career that some of it was, you could say, was him possibly, like when he re-signed, and then some stuff was just, like I say, politics, red tape. So my thing is with Boots, and it's using Bruce for example, like, why can't we go look at, okay, why wasn't Boots able to get the fight with Spence, get the fight with Terrence Crawford when they all were at 47? Was it him ducking, or was it nobody want to fight the low risk, low reward, high risk guy? Excuse me. Those are the things I'm saying. Like, let's go a little bit in depth. Let's not just say, "Oh, he's a duck. Oh, he's a duck. He ducked him. He had an opportunity to fight him. He ducked him." I truly don't believe that those crop of guys, if they're looking to make big fights, I don't want to fight this young bull. He a little risky. So we'll let him, let him fight everybody else underneath that. But so that's where I just be like, sometimes we just can be so disingenuous to get our narrative and points that we want to make and fit what we see and what we believe. So,
and to get the golden ring in the game, anybody who's playing it safe like that, they're playing it safe for a reason. Okay, another sign that you should have known better. Vasily Lomachenko stayed in the amateurs till he was late in his 20s/30s. Okay, why do they do something like that? Because he wasn't ready to be in a professional. Hence, why every single time he's stepped up in competition, he has lost. Okay, the signs are always there. All right, the signs are always there. You guys get confused.
I'm not saying there's truth to that. I know he lost to T.O., lost to Dev. Definitely lost to T.O., like straight up. Dev, I feel like Devin won that fight. It was a close fight, but he's a small lightweight. Granted, he signed the contract, and just saying, he lost. So, but yeah, there's no. Let's keep
used with matchmaking, thinking dudes are great fighters because you're a fan of other things besides the sweet science. But that's about as pure as it's going to get in a boxing space like that, like this. This is what it should sound like. This is what people should bring to the table, other than their attitudes and their feelings. They should be talking about the reach. They should be talking about the experience. They should be talking about the fact that Jaron Ennis has basic flaws that keeps him from being this dominant Adonis that y'all say that he is. It just doesn't match up at the end of the day, because you still have to question that chin. You still have to question that defense. He still telegraphs his punches. He still does not know how to cut off a ring. He still has the problems with movers. He still have a problem with boxers, and he still got a problem with getting his head up off the line.
Like I say, I don't disagree with some of the flaws he called out. So I want you to call out some of Devin's flaws. Devin's a perfect fighter. And that's more so where I'm coming from, where we have to have balance. Because, I understand you a Devin fan, whatever the case may be. It's Debo Dev, shout out to Devin. But Devin's a perfect fighter. He has no flaws. That's all I'm saying. There's nothing, if they were to fight, there's nothing Jaron can capitalize on. I personally mentioned some of Boots' flaws in this video. I'm just throwing it out there, but let's keep going.
And his power is questionable. Okay, these are the things you have to bring to light on top of just loving the way.
So we're just gonna keep replaying the round 3 and where he got hit. That's what I'm talking about, narratives and different things like that. Which is cool. That's what you're doing. But
that he, I don't know, plays a matador with the fighters or something like that. So when people speak, that's what they're speaking about. When you speak, you're speaking about something emotional, and you believe that people are speaking in the same way that you're speaking, with ignorance and with emotion. You never stop to think that maybe they just know the science and you don't. Well, that's what a conversation like that will sound like. Anything else is just some haterade. It's just somebody's opinion. It's just somebody wearing knee pads. It's just somebody wanting to be a fan of man or something like that. All y'all conversations should start like that. Your basis for picking a fighter shouldn't be based off how you feel about me personally and how you think I am and whether I like somebody or something like that. You should be able to come with, a scientific background, that's based off of why you're saying what you're saying. If can't nobody tell you, if can't nobody break down a fight to you like that, within the framework of boxing and the reasons why, whether be it mechanics, whether it be it flaws, resume, coaching, lifestyle, if they can't break it to you down like that, besides just being a hater, you're not talking to no real boxing fan, and that's the problem right there. But y'all guys want to have a conversation. That's the real conversation about it. It's just messed up. You guys can't have conversations like this because you got too many people that's over emotional. Therefore, if there was an educational process, the education process get thrown out the window as soon as your emotions get introduced to the equation. And that's what's messed up. That's what you need to figure out. Do you really want to learn about the game? Do you really want to know about the game? Or you just want to be a man fan and you're here to just bicker? If you're here to just bicker, there's other.
In general sense, I don't disagree with what he's saying there as far as learning about the sport, any sport for that matter, and really learn the nuances and details when we're looking at certain players of said sport or fighters, seeing what they do well, what they're not doing, like the little nuanced things, in general sense, I definitely 1000% agree with that. But what I'm not going for and not going to feed into is big upping one side. If I'm doing an analysis of a potential fight or actual fight, for instance, O'Shaquie Foster versus Navarrete, if I'm gonna go look at that fight, let's say they two most recent fights or three, be like, dang, what are they? I've seen both guys fight a lot, just watching on TV, but if I were to go back and look, okay, what do they do well? What does he do well? Blah, 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 blah. And not big up one side and then try to downplay the other side. That's the part where it's just like, because in this video, you bigging up Haney and tearing down Jaron, and then you'll claim that anybody that comes in and big up Jaron and, say what he can do well or what some of his strengths are is now they a man fan. They a casual. If Boots and Haney fight, he's not going to get blown out the water. It'll be a competitive fight. That's opinion. I don't think it will be a competitive fight right now. Maybe never. That's me. That's me. But I can still go and look at the fight and be like, okay, I'm looking at Haney, really taking a look at it and be like, okay, he do this. Like he do this really well. He has this. Like I say, I already have questions. Like you question Booth's chin, I'm still questioning Haney's chin. Like, if we being fair, if he really get hit by Jaron, like if he can take it, cool. Well, how does he respond to that? Does he retreat or he go find a way to get his back, but still be able to score points, be offensive when needed, and control? So it's a lot of, like I said before, it's a lot of questions. I have more questions about in this fight between these two potential fight, but for Haney, based off what I've seen, from the Ryan fight, but we can't just chalk that Ryan fight up to, oh, Ryan had Osterring and that's it. That's why Haney lost. I know a lot of fans have said that and have done that. Cool. And and my thing is with that, it's like, could Haney not block the left hook, get away from the left hook, change his style up? Because Ryan was sloppy in that fight. If you look at him, he's saying he was, juiced up on steroids. I'm like, man, he should have been more cut, more lean, just like his physical appearance. I understand he came in 3 pounds overweight. You look at him at previous fights, versus Dorte, versus Rowley, versus Barrios, versus Campbell. He was more, more cut up, more, you could tell was in shape. That fight, he was, fighting in spots. So you can't say it was the PEDs that he took and the Osterine that he took. Let me say Osterine, that's what it was, that propelled him to victory. Or he was hitting harder. We've seen Ryan knock people out before prior to this Devin Haney fight. And based off the evidence, let's say future evidence come out that he was cycling off or something like that, It's like I think it's disingenuous if me to be a fan of the sport and look at Haney. Yes, we understand the Oscar ring. That I see that, but looking at the fight, because the Haneys were very confident. They call Ryan a C-level fighter. And I feel that they were confident they could beat him, like for real, like legit confident. They took the money, how much the money, the agreement they made, Bill made as far as Garcia being overweight, took that money because however many pounds he was overweight, and they took that money and they wanted to fight. So it's like, as fans, take things for what they are and what was said. Like, he lost because of weight. He lost because of Oscar ring. Like I say, Ryan was sloppy. Yeah, he was unprofessional. Devin's always been, professional. I think he's always made weight or did his thing there. But then let's not come back and then try to retell history. I feel like I believe Devin has gotten better from that fight. I feel like Boots has gotten better from his Karen fight. You face some adversity within the ring. And you improve on your technique, on your defense, whatever your offense, whatever the case may be. So that's my thing when I look at Haney. I have a lot of questions because we still haven't seen him. He fought a big puncher in Norman, but I want to see what happens when you fight somebody with, some punching power and with speed that can, reach you, what I'm saying, and with good footwork, in which I feel Boots provides all three or four of those things, like for sure. So it's just interesting. I hear him talk about Boots. And some things he definitely say is valid. Don't get me wrong, very valid about Boots as far as in ring. Other things I'm like, okay, he's just truly just not a fan, not a fan of his, and that's fair. That's his prerogative. But like I say, that's my reaction. I think it just be balanced. We all have biases, guys we like, but if I'm looking at a fight, the Zayas Boots fight, going into it, I'm like, man, Boots gonna beat this guy. I don't think he has anything. I think Boots is faster, better boxer. This guy's supposed to be more on the pure boxing end. And Boots got this guy. But hey, let me go do my research. Let me go watch some previous fights. Let me see. So I think that's what we just have to do as fans and as YouTubers and as analysts of the sport. Let's not just, like he was saying, let's not be emotional. Let's go really look. Let's see, what can this fighter do against this fighter? Based off what they've done in previous fights, more with some of their recent fights. And let's really, really do research and analyze things and not just big up one side. That's my thing. But that's all I got, man. That's my reaction. Those are my thoughts. Let me know how you feel in the comments below. Peace out.